All right. Peace and blessings. Yeah, it's late night where I am right now. I think it's what is it? Almost midnight. Okay. Almost midnight. I just did a live stream on my Instagram page, McCrory Devon. Uh, Now I'm back on my Instagram. I'm on YouTube. I wanted to come back and touch on something because I really wanted to. We just did our meditation session for Meditation Month, but I really wanted to come back and discuss something with you guys. Because I've been on a journey of exploration, been on a journey of depression, anxiety. I went through it. I went through it. You know what I mean? And still got a lot of growth to do. Still got a lot of overcoming to do. But ultimately, I wanted to leave y'all with another message before the night is over with. And yeah, I'm tired. Yeah, it's been a long day. I was just cooking, cleaning. I made some baked chicken breast wrapped in turkey bacon for my family. I made myself some vegan tacos, which I ain't too excited about after smelling that chicken and seeing everybody else talk about how good the chicken was, but it is what it is. So I'm a little bit tired, but yeah, we're going to bed soon. But I wanted to talk to y'all about meditation. I got into meditation and mindfulness because I was dealing with depression. I was dealing with depression and I was dealing with anxiety. I was dealing with panic attacks, and it was so bad I was going to the hospital, and I thought something was wrong with me, right? And then as I'm in the hospital, I'm in the emergency room, and the doctor walks in and he sees how high my blood pressure is, and he's like, "Here, take this." And he gave me a prescription for a pill. I think it was called metoprolol, something like that. He said, "Take this, and when you start taking it, don't stop. Just keep taking it." And he walks out. Didn't really explain what it was supposed to be for. Didn't explain how it was supposed to like operate in my body, how I was supposed to react to it. Didn't tell me of any possible side effects. Just walked in and kind of walked out. I don't even know the guy's name. I don't even remember his name. But I started taking the medication. I took the medication once, and it just felt so weird. It felt so strange. I hated the way the medication made me feel. Come to find out, the medication was an anti-anxiety pill, but he didn't explain that. He didn't explain that an anti-anxiety pill, it was designed to lower your blood pressure, but it was actually an anti-anxiety pill that's going to affect your neurochemistry, affect how you feel, affect your mood. He didn't say any of that. He just told me, "Here, take it." And I felt like that was such an injustice, and I was so angry about it. And I said, "You know what? I'm not taking pills to deal with this. The issue was in my mind, so I'm going to use my mind to solve the problem." And I started to meditate every single day to calm myself down, and I would do 5 minutes a day. And then from 5 minutes a day became 10 minutes a day, and then 10 minutes a day to 15 minutes a day. And then eventually I started meditating for like an hour a day for a long, long time. But I want to say that, after the first 6 months, I noticed a change. I never had another panic attack, never had another anxiety attack, which was awesome. But there was still much growth to deal with. And still kept meditating. After a year, I saw more changes, more positivity, started to feel better about myself. After a year and a half, I feel like I beat and overcame depression. Life still wasn't perfect, still had my struggles. Um, but yeah, I beat depression through meditating every single day for a year and a half. So that part of my life changed, but there was still much work to be done. And I wanted to talk about that point. When you reach that point, when you've been doing the work, you've been going to the therapist, you've been meditating, you've been doing the deep breathing exercises, you've been trying to be around positive people, going to the support groups and all of that stuff. And then you reach that point where you feel like I'm getting better, but I'm still not quite where I want to be. And that's that point where you feel like you might want to quit, or even if you've been put in and things still haven't changed. There's a lot of people who put the work in of meditating every single day, and they feel like things are not changing. I want to talk to you guys about that because I think that's an important point that nobody really discusses. People talk about the amazing power of meditation to help you manage depression and help you manage PTSD and help you manage anxiety. It's amazing. Love meditation. That's why I teach it. I teach meditation and mindfulness, and I've been doing that for a long time, and I've seen the improvement in people's lives. I used to work in a drug rehab facility for young adolescent males, and these were kids who had been through a lot of trauma. They would want to fight, and they would want to, engage in destructive and self-destructive behaviors. And I would teach them meditation techniques, and they'd be nice and calm, and they would let things go, and they wouldn't want to fight. And then it got to the point where Instead of them desiring to act out and be aggressive, they would desire to sit down and meditate. It's a beautiful thing. But a lot of times people reach that point where you're putting in the work and it seems like it's not working. When you put in the work and it's not working, that's a depressing feeling. And that happens. It happens with any medication. If you're taking medication for anxiety, it's gonna get to the point your body gets used to it. If you're taking a medication for depression, after a while your body gets used to it and you have to change the dosage. Same thing happens with meditation. Meditation is a way of, trying to stabilize yourself. But for some people putting the work in meditating, sometimes it feels like it's not working. And I get it, I understand. So I wanted to talk about, what do you do at that point when you feel like, I've been doing it long enough, I'm not getting the changes that I want. I'm done. I'm sick of it. I want to talk about that point. What do you do when that happens? Well, there's a couple of things I want you to do. I want you to understand that meditation is designed to help to stabilize you, right? It's there to help to stabilize you so that you can start seeing things a little bit more clearly. Because when you're a person who's traumatized, you're going through depression, you're going through anxiety, what is that? Well, those things are mental illnesses. So what does that mean? What does it mean when you have a mental illness? You got a mental illness. That means the way you think is distorted. Depression and anxiety distort how you see reality. That's what your brain is supposed to do. It's supposed to help you to function so that you can see reality. You can see things as they are. A mental illness creates situations where it's a blockage or a distortion to keep you from seeing things as they are. You don't see things as they are because you're sick, right? So a lot of times you might meditate and you might feel like, well, I've done this for so long and things aren't changing. Well, guess what? You have a mental illness. You might not be doing it as long as you think you are. That's one thing I want you to realize. Quite often when you're sick and you're seeking a respite from that pain, you might say to yourself, well, I'm going to give it. You might say like, oh, I've been meditating forever and it hasn't changed. Well, you might not have been meditating that long. It takes some time to change your brain. And if you put in a week of meditation, that might seem long to you, but you're not going to get a change within a week's time. I've met plenty of people when I teach meditation. I've met plenty of people who say, I've meditated once and it didn't work. I get that all the time. I meditated once and it didn't work. Or I'll give people meditation assignments. I'll develop whole meditation programs for people. And I'll say, do this and try this meditation technique at home and do this with your family and do this with your son, do this with your daughter. And people will go home and ignore everything that I said and then come back like, it's not working. My son is still acting out. My daughter is still acting out. I still feel depressed. It's not working. Yeah, because you're not doing it. Or if you are doing it, you're doing it for a very brief period of time and you're expecting to undo 20 or 30 years of pain and sadness. And you got to understand, you want it to work fast for you. Okay, you got to put the work in. So remember that. Remember that, like being intoxicated, being high. When you're high, being high is interesting because it distorts your sense of time. So you could be doing something for 15 minutes, but it feels like you've been doing it for hours. Same thing with meditation. And same thing with depression. Depression is a mental illness. Just like being high, being drunk, it alters your neurochemistry. Depression alters your neurochemistry. Just like being high alters your neurochemistry and affects your central nervous system. Depression does the same thing. So you might meditate once and feel like, oh, it's so much. I put in so much work. Why aren't things different? I know when I first started meditating, really trying to meditate seriously, I was 24. And I remember I had been reading I'm reading a book called The Religions of Man by Houston Smith. Great book. And I was reading about meditation. And I said, well, let me explore this meditation thing. And I tried to meditate. I set my timer for 5 minutes. I couldn't do 5 minutes. 5 minutes was torture. I didn't know what to do for 5 minutes. I'm like, this is insane. So I changed the timer from 5 minutes to 3 minutes. I couldn't do 3 minutes. I couldn't do 3 minutes of meditation, but it felt like forever. And I think that's what happens a lot of times when you're going through depression and anxiety. You distort your sense of time. You feel like you've been doing it forever. You feel like I should be enlightened by now after doing it for a week. I should be enlightened by now. And you've been doing it for like a month. Stay consistent with it and put the work in until you get the results. You don't put the work in and get mad when the results don't come. You put the work in until you get the results. We know the science of it. You know the science pretty much predicts that you're going to get some results. You're going to get the results you're looking for. The science predicts that. If you suffer from PTSD, the science predicts that by meditating, you can manage it better. If you're going through anxiety and depression, the science predicts that when you do it, you alter the brain chemistry and the neural structure enough where you can get the results. So you know the results are going to come. You do it until you get the results, which is hard. I know, but you can't do it, you know, briefly and expect things to change. You can't meditate for a week and expect to get rid of, decades. Actually, I won't even say decades, centuries of pain. Because a lot of us have been taught to believe that you're genetically predisposed to depression. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means that before you were born, there were other people who had went through some kind of traumatic experience in the environment, and it altered your genetics. That's epigenetics. So the pain of your ancestors created chemical scars in your DNA, which made it so that you inherited their pain. So a lot of times with us, it's such a struggle to overcome depression and anxiety because you're not trying to overcome your depression and anxiety. You're trying to overcome the depression and anxiety of your ancestors. You're trying to overcome the depression and anxiety of individuals who lived thousands of years before you even here. And if you're a black person in America whose ancestors went through the transatlantic slave trade, yeah, you inherited their ghosts. So you're trying to overcome hundreds of years of oppression, hundreds of years of depression, hundreds of years of scarcity, pain, anguish, anxiety within 1 week of meditation. It's not fair to you. And it's not fair to the ancestors whose weight is sitting on your shoulders. They need you to heal so they can heal. Your ancestors need you to heal so they can heal. Your kids need you to heal so they can heal. So you are the fulcrum upon which this entire story turns. And that's a lot of weight. And you can't overcome all that pain and all that anguish for thousands of years before you was born and thousands of years before, way after you're gone. You can't overcome all of that in a short period of time. You're carrying a heavy burden, but it's okay. You can do it. Just stay focused. The science predicts success. The scriptures predict success. You and your DNA predict success. That's evolution. Evolution is the prediction of your success. All you got to do is embrace all of that and understand you keep putting the work in and you will succeed. You will. Remember what I talked about before? Eternalism. How you see time. You could be within three-dimensional space and see time from this point, or eternalism. Step outside of time. You can see everything is happening all at once. There is no past, present, future. Everything's happening all at the same time. And when you can see things from that perspective, you look on the long term and you see God is already victorious. It says it in the Bhagavad Gita when Krishna was talking to Arjuna and telling Arjuna to go fight the war against the Pandavas. He was like, go out and fight. And Arjuna was like, I don't want to fight. I can't fight. I'm too scared. And Krishna said, you've already won. So all you gotta do is launch the first arrow and you're guaranteed victory. You're guaranteed to be victorious of depression and anxiety. You're guaranteed. Gotta put the work in though. And understand that your mental illness, your sickness is distorting your perception of time. You think it's taking so long to overcome. Well, guess what? You're doing a lot of work. And you're pushing yourself so hard because you want to be successful quickly because you're sick of how you feel. I get it. But every journey, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. Keep taking those small steps and you will see change. And understand you probably ain't working as hard as you think you are, to be honest. I went through that phase too. I went through every phase of failure when it comes to trying to beat depression. You meditate for like 5 minutes and you get that feeling of meditation high and you think, oh, I can overcome everything. And then real life hits you again. And you realize you haven't come as far as you thought you did. You keep putting the work in though. You can do it. Don't think you failed just because you're not where you want to be right now. You must be relentless. Just like the depression in your body is a mental illness. An illness, like a virus, is determined to survive. And your mental illness integrates itself into your identity the same way a virus integrates itself into your DNA. It's going to try to fight for survival no matter what. Your mental illness has become a part of your DNA, so you're gonna fight for it's gonna fight for survival. I've seen people who are depressed, and you try to convince them to do things to fight the depression. Yeah, well, I can't. Well, because they convince themselves they can't do it because that's the depression talking. The depression is taken over. It's integrated itself into their identity, so it's not gonna let you go. It ain't gonna let you go. You gotta fight it off. How do you fight it? Well, you can't fight it with physical violence and aggression. You fight it with consistency. You fight it with small steps toward improvement. And you fight it most of all with you trying to take steps to improve yourself and improve your life. But ultimately, remember this one lesson: meditation is not the answer. Meditation is there to stabilize you, but how you live is the answer. If you live like a depressed person, no matter how much meditation you do, you're not going to beat it. You keep holding yourself back from taking risks and taking chances and convincing yourself that you can't, and convincing yourself you shouldn't, and convincing yourself that you can't go out and live. Meditation is there to stabilize you so you can go live and change how you live. Living life is the answer. The whole point of meditation is to change you so you can change how you live. You got to change how you live, fam. You can't say, I'm trying to beat depression and trying to overcome depression, but you're eating the same food. You can meditate all you want. You eat the same food. You meditate all you want, but you still drinking. You meditate all you want. You still, you know what I mean? Got the sniffles. That's not changing anything. The point of meditation is to stabilize you so you can change how you live. And by changing how you live, that's what's going to change your DNA and change your neurochemistry so that you can, and change your neural structure so that you can change your experiences and change how you live and beat it and overcome it. You can't meditate and then just stay in your house and stay locked in your little bubble where it's safe and where it's warm. The whole point of meditation is to stabilize you so you can come outside of your comfort zone and then beat depression. That's how you know you beat it. You know you beat it when you change how you live. You know you beat it when you change how you operate amongst other human beings. You know you beat it when you change how you have relationships with others. You know you beat it when you take bigger risks. You know, you beat it when you go on and changing your routine. You know, you beat it when you changing how you eat. You know, you beat it when you changing how your drinking habits and your weed smoking habits, and get rid of all that nonsense. Get rid of all that bullshit, and then go live. That's what meditation is. Meditation is the key to unlock the door to a new life. Yes, it's gonna change your neurochemistry, but that don't mean anything. How you know it's working if you're not living differently? How you know it's working if you're not changing your habits? You meditate so you can overcome these things. You overcome these things, you stabilize yourself, and then you start living differently. And that's what really changes you. Your habits change you. Your habits change you. How you behave changes you. The best way to overcome depression is to change how you live, because you're living like a depressed person. So that's ingratiating and integrating certain behavioral and thought patterns into your identity. That's the scary part. It gets stuck in your identity. You got to get it out of your identity. How do you break free and get it out of your identity? You got to change how you living, man. You got to change how you living. You're not going to overcome depression by doing the same stuff you was doing when you was depressed. You're not going to keep doing the same shit and think your whole life is going to change. It don't matter how many hours you put on the mat. It don't matter how many hours you spend saying mantras or saying your little fake affirmations. I am at peace within myself and I am living the life of absolute abundance. You ain't living shit. You're doing the same stuff you was doing when you was depressed. Therefore, you're not changing. You can't expect to change if you're not going to change. You can't expect to change if you're not going to change. It don't matter how much you meditate. Don't come to me and say, oh, meditation don't work. You're doing the same shit you was doing before you even started the practice. When you start the practice, that's to stabilize you so that you can start changing how you live and change how you see reality. You want to change how you see reality. This light is driving me crazy. This shadow over here is driving me crazy. But anyhow, yeah, you got to change. That's the point of meditation. It's hard to change when you're not stabilized. So you meditate to stabilize yourself and begin the process of changing your neurochemistry so you're not overwhelmed with depression and overwhelmed with anxiety. And then once you feel a little bit more stable, then you can go out there and live a little bit more. And then when you change how you live and change how you eat and change what you do, then all of a sudden, it opens up for you. When I really started meditating every day and going through a period of spiritual change, I couldn't do the same things. I couldn't eat the same foods. I would get sick. If I went right now and ate McDonald's, I'd puke. Literally. I had to change how I live. If I had a drink right now, I would be sick. I don't even know if my body can handle it right now. If I listen to certain kinds of music, I couldn't. When I really started meditating every day, I couldn't listen to certain kinds of music. Certain artists I had to stop listening to. My life began to change internally but that changed how I live my life externally. That's the whole point. The whole point is to change how you behave so you can start to see a change in the external life and the internal life. That's the point of meditation. The whole goal is to create a transformation within self. But just sitting on the mat is not going to do that. You sit on the mat to stabilize yourself. And then you go experiment and experience. And you live life. I want you to go live. That's the beauty of it. The whole point of meditation is not meditation. Meditation is not the end. It's only a means. You know, they call, I think in Buddhism they refer to certain kinds of meditation as a vessel. It's a vessel. It's a vessel. It's gonna get you where you have to be. But it's not the goal. It's not the point. Meditation is not the goal and the point. The goal and the point is to live life. That's the real meditation. Real meditation is the experience of the existence of life and the appreciation of every moment. And true mindfulness is living. True mindfulness and meditation is living. You can meditate while you live. You can meditate while you eat. Meditate while you walk. Meditate while you're speaking to others. Meditate and be mindful while you're reading. And meditate and be mindful while you are making love. That's the whole point. Every moment is supposed to be a meditation. I heard somebody say once say that you're not praying, you're supposed to be the prayer. You're not meditating. You're supposed to be living, and life becomes meditative. So yes, meditate, but understand that the first step of meditation is to practice and be consistent. Second step is stabilization. Then after stabilization, you expand, and after you expand, then you live. I want you to live. Go live. Your life is waiting for you beyond your illusions. All these illusions that you got, all this make believe shit that you got. I want you to overcome these illusions. Get rid of all that make believe shit so you can go live. Don't focus so much on meditation as the end. Meditation is just the means to reach the end. What's the end? Well, the end is no end. The end is infinity. That's the whole point. Meditation allows you to just live and understand that life is infinite. There's so much out there for you. Go live. All right? So remember that as you meditate and you feel like, oh my God, I reached the end. There's no more, it can't offer me anything else. Understand, you're probably not meditating as much as you think you are. You're probably not progressing as much as you think you are. You're not putting in as much work as you think you are. And most of all, you meditate so you can stabilize, so you can go live. That's when you reap the benefits of meditation, when you live. Peace and blessings. I love y'all to life. I love y'all to death. Peace.